Taupo Motorsport Park hosted the fourth round of the Castrol BMW Race Driver Series, where Phil Dark caught up with two of the contenders in the open class.
If we're thinking championship, we're round 4 now.
Yep.
Obviously, you and Mike are going to battle it out right till the end, but who else is in the mix?
There's anyone is really, because you've got the handicap and reverse grid, so a lot of people are in the mix. So we're missing the next round. So I think I've got roughly about 160 points. So I don't think it's enough, but hopefully towards the end of the season we'll better get back in the lead.
As the open class grows, more and more cars on the track, lots of traffic to deal with, lots of speed difference.
Yeah. I mean, that's a discussion that's ongoing. It is a problem. The big fields and the slow cars can be a recipe for a bit of a disaster if you're not careful. But generally, the guys are pretty good. There's a couple of guys that perhaps aren't so good, but we've managed to get through, and we'll just keep trying.
So race number 1 on Sunday for the open class. On board with Graham Fraser, and here's some of his thoughts before the race starts.
Too happy with our margin over the guys behind us. 5 seconds over 8 laps around here is damned all. So I think it'll just be a matter of staying on track and seeing what happens.
So as you heard there from Graham, this is a handicap start with the slower Class C cars away first around this big Taupo Motorsport Park complex. It's the second race of the weekend, with the first race off the back of qualifying here on the Saturday. So the first car away with the handicap start is the number 113 of Joel Kiernan, running in Class C in the BMW E30. So the faster guys will have to come from towards the back. Mike Dalmont out of pit lane in the BMW 2002 Turbo. Just treading gently out of that first corner and heading towards the infield. Dalmont won the first race of the weekend, former Open Series class champion. And meanwhile, the smaller class cars are already over the other side of the circuit, making their run to start lap number 2. Car number 19. It's Christopher Wright. Matt Parrish also carrying an onboard for us today in this first race on Sunday for the open class, car number 287. So he's in that leading group of cars first away. And as we've seen right throughout this open class championship, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, with the handicap starts and the time differences, and especially around a bigger circuit like Taupo, where the lap times generally are pretty slow compared to some of the smaller circuits around, it's pretty hard for these faster cars to try and make up that handicap to the first cars away. So there's Mike Dalman. He's already in lap traffic, and effectively he's probably unlapping himself here. And big problems here for Mike Mosen in the Mosen Euro Parts 344, and into the tyre stack he goes. A big brake lock up there, and I think he's got bigger issues than that, because there's smoke billowing from underneath the hood of that race car. So it looks like he's lost an engine. He's locked up the rear brakes on his own oil. And this is to the complex off the end of the back straight here in Taupo, and he does well to slow it up, just light contact there with the tyre stack. And that looks to be the weekend over for Mike Mosen in the Mosen Euro Parts BMW M3 GTR replica. So there's Aaron Harris. He is the class leader in Class B. Former New Zealand Touring Car Championship regular going back in the days. There's one dropping the wheel off as we're on board with Graham Fraser, another one of the title contenders for Class B. Here's Grant Clegg just to the left of Fraser. BMW 2002, and another big brake lock up there just in front of Fraser. So we're watching highlights of the second race of the weekend, the first race on Sunday for the open class. One more race left to go for them. Third and final race of the weekend is a reverse grid by group start. As Mike Dalmont now goes to work on Paul Mill for position. Paul Mill in the BMW Z3M Coupe. Didn't contest the first 2 rounds of the championship. He's been running with the NZGT category with that race car. But out in front, it looks like Aaron Harris is working his way to the front. So some of the smaller Class B cars having a good run here in traffic. Fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:41.851 set by Mike Delmont. Aaron Harris in the 1:43s. Michael Starnes also contending for that Class B championship with Harris. He's in the 1:44s. Warwick Mortimer working his way through. He's lapping in the 1:41s as Aaron Harris moves through to the second position. Matt Parrish now back to third. And I think the 1:13 of Joel Cannon is still out in front, but not for too much longer, as Aaron Harris works his way through to the lead on that lap. There's Cannon back in the second position, and Michael Starnes now working his way through to third, getting by Parrish. I think that's Stephen Lawrence there as well in the 3:54. So Starnes and Harris, this will be a championship-long battle between the race leader and this car now up into the third position. A little bit of exit oversteer there out of the final corner. Battles on the main straight. Paul Mill working his way through. 3 wide under brakes down to the complex. Mike Delmont at the head of that group as Mill pinches the brake and around he goes. Trailing cars scattered to avoid the spun number 530. And that happened on the checkered flag, so Aaron Harris will take the victory. Mike Delmont crossing the line in the 8th position. So Aaron Harris taking out the race 1 result on Sunday, taking out Class B from Michael Starnes. Warwick Mortimer in third ahead of Stephen Lawrence, Graham Fraser and Matt Parrish, the first of the Class Cs.
And 4th round of the BMW Series, and you and Michael are together again in that first one.
Yeah, that's right. I just tried to get a little bit of a gap on him, which I did, so that was really good.
And in this next one, reverse grid, where will you start?
I'll start at the back of the B class, so there's a lot of work to do here, especially because it's really tight, but I've probably got enough speed on everyone to do it, but I've got to try and pace myself.
Well, Michael, pretty exciting stuff in the open beamers, and once again, you're chasing your mate here.
Yeah, trying to catch Aaron Harris, so we're slowly making progress, sort of a race at a time, so no, we're on the right track.
It seems like there's more and more cars now in the open class, so traffic in these handicap races must be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting the last 3 or so laps. It gets quite busy, but you sort of pick your line and go with it and hope it pays off, really.
All right, you said to me before today that today was going to be it. Still feel that way?
Yep, yeah, I think so, yeah. We've got everything fixed on the car. We've had power steering problems, we've had differential problems, we've had all sorts of little things to go wrong, all little stuff, but it's all together now, and hopefully this next race will prove it.
Mike, it's been a tough weekend, and then it all went bang this morning.
Yeah, just tracking along, same as usual, and then it just all gave up, so just a passenger at the end there, as you could probably tell, but relatively unscathed, so that's the main thing.
What is it about that little 2002? Because, man, even in that last one, from the back to the virtually to the front, and with over a lap head start on the rest of the field.
Yeah, we had a 2 minutes 40-second handicap, so yeah, that's a long way to catch up, and a bit tricky around some of the tighter pieces here with the traffic, but once you get through, you can open her up, and she goes pretty fast.
Brent, you're one of the fastest runners in the class. I think you've got the lap record here at Taupo.
Yeah, we did. We had the lap record last year. We set it with a 54 flat, and qualifying this meeting we set a 53.39, I think. So we knocked it down, and no, we're very happy with that. Car's going very well.
So Brent Allen, one of the championship contenders, he's already won a race this weekend, the first race for Group 1. But again, this big field split into 2 groups based off the back of qualifying. David Farmer carrying an onboard. Again, handicap start for the second race of the weekend. Now, there's been a change in the championship lead. Brent Allen now leading the championship after the previous round at Hampton Downs. That was off the back of Manfield and the MG Classic round, where Ashley Blewett was the points leader after the first 2. Ashley, unfortunately, didn't contest the Hampton Downs round, which was dominated by Brent Allen with 3 race victories. So Brent Allen right in championship contention. And out of that, Matt Griffin and Marty Irvine also right there in contention, as well as we got one off in the background. That'll be the 79 of Charles Dodds. And it's the charge of the Light Brigade down the back straight on the first lap. John Paladin to the outside, 4 wide under brakes. Down into the carousel. Paladin there in that green and blue number 54, running as a teammate to Marty Irvine, the reigning 1NZ, and there is Marty Irvine, just making a pass there on Ross Gardner. And we've got some contacts on board with David Farmer, and that's Marty Irvine. Mike Ashton goes around the outside. Irvine still going. So that's going to delay the reigning NZ1 in the E30 Championship in race number 2 of the weekend. He finished second to Brent Allen in the first race for Group 1. Now it's Ross Gardner and Marty Irvine disputing territory towards turn number 2. You can see Mike Ashton jumping on the brakes and behind him, locking up the brakes on the red number 5. Irvine going around after that contact with Gardner. So 21 is John Lovitch. On debut this season. Sponsorship from Carter's Tyres. So again this weekend we've got well over 50 cars entered for the E30 Championship. There's the 20 and the 58 go side by side. 20 is Steve Neuer. As John Lovitch gets out of shape to the carousel, 58 there running with Neuer was Tony Houston. So Lovitch just looks like he gets in a little bit deep right in front of Brent Allen. So these guys working their way towards the front. In fact, Lovitch was in this leading position. Back on board with David Farmer. He's seen some action today. Out of turn number 9 up past the old club rooms here at the Taupo Motorsport Park. And some contact there by the sound of it. Farmer just getting maybe a shot in the left-hand door from someone he's battling there with. So Brent Allen out in front. Mike Ashton in second. Tony Easton in the third position here as the laps wind down. Marty Irvine trying to fight his way back, and he's back up inside the top 10. There's Paladin just ahead of him, car number 100, Kane Barry. He's in a battle with Richard Oxton for the leading rookie of the E30 Championship. Very good rally car driver and car preparer as the last lap borders out. Brent Allen, his last lap run down the back straight here at the Taupo Motorsport Park, looking for 2 out of 2 for the weekend. Ashton, Tony Houston. Houston actually up into that third position. But it'll be Brent Allen. When he's not racing his BMWs, he's on the crew with Craig Beard's championship-winning United Video BNC V8s. But Brent Allen will take the victory in race 1 on Sunday for Group 1 of the E30s. Back on board with David Farmer. He's worked his way up inside the top 10. He's had an eventful race. We've certainly seen lots going on in front of him. And that's how they finish for Group 1 Race 1 for the E30 class. Brent Allen, Mike Ashton, Tony Easton in third ahead of Bruce Miller, Steve Kahn, Kane Barry, Marty Irvine and John Paladin.
Brent, your good weekend continues. A win yesterday and then another win in the first one this morning.
Yeah, it was. It was a good race this one today and as well as yesterday. So a bit of thought goes into the reverse grid races. You don't want to be too aggressive, and once you can control that, you sort of pick your way through the field, and it was a very enjoyable race, yeah.
It's always hard work in those E30s, Mike, but in those handicap races, you really earn your spot.
Especially at my age. That was a great race. I mean, starting at the back of the grid. We've got a 10-second penalty, as you know, too, at the start, so you've really got to drive like a man possessed. Sort of reminds you, like we're talking before, a bit about the British touring cars back over there, a little bit of rubbing, a few mirrors and things, but yeah, so coming from the back to get the second, yeah, I was happy with that.
Marty, they say in racing, some days you eat the bear, some day the bear eats you, and that first one, the bear ate you.
Yes, unfortunately, sort of coming through quite nicely there, and plenty of laps left, and everything was going quite well, apart from Brent had slipped through, and just keeping in touch with him and quietly coming through the pack, and yeah, unfortunately, got tagged from behind and then spun and then got hit on the right hand side there, so had to start from last again.
Welcome back to the Taupo Motorsport Park. Round 4 of the Castrol BMW Race Driver Series. It's on to Group 2, Race 1.
In those races, is it a matter of waiting for the gaps to open up or maybe forcing the issue a little?
You've got to be a little bit aggressive to get through, yeah. I mean, you've got to sort of push guys and get them to yield a bit, I guess. And, it's all about getting to the front, isn't it?
So Michael Clark, a well-known Speedway identity over many, many years. His brother Tim Clark, a very, very good car preparer and engineer with midget car racing here in New Zealand, Australia and up in the US. So again, like Group 1, Race 1, a handicap start with the faster guy starting from towards the back of this race. 113 is Oren Wells starting near the front of this field. So this field features the likes of Matt Griffin, Michael Clark, Richard Oxton, who's in contention for that Rookie of the Year title. Matt Griffin's been in the top 3 from the start of the championship, but at the previous round at Hampton Downs, Griffin didn't have a great run, where he finished 3rd, 18th and 7th, so it cost him a lot of points over the likes of Brent Allen and Marty Irvine. Ashley Blewett also in this group. This is car number 320, battling for position with the 287 of Michael Clark, working their way through. That's Grant Metzen in the bright red number 320 BMW E30. And we're on board with Michael Clark, who Phil Dark caught up with before this race. Michael Clark just hovering around that top 10 in the points going into the round here at Taupo this weekend. So we saw lap times in the open class earlier on, around that sort of 140, 141 range. These BMW E30s are lapping in the 152s, 153s around Taupo, just highlighting how big this racetrack is. 3.3 kilometres. There's Richard Oxton, famous New Zealand racing name. His dad, David, thoroughly enjoys throwing the wrenches in all of Richard's motorsport activities through kart sport and now the BMW E30 Championship. And as we alluded to earlier, he is in a battle with Kane Barry for the Rookie of the Year honours in the E30s. So Michael Clark now going to work on the 101 of Richard Batchelor. Batchelor in the interior renovations E30. Clark with a nice pass up the inside. A little bit of contact there though. Wheel to wheel with Batchelor just running up over the side of the tyres. On board with Batchelor now, chasing down. As the 68 of Ian Brown takes advantage of that as well. Well, that was bizarre. Here's the replay. Clark on the inside, Batchelor on the outside. A little bit hard to tell from that angle whether Batchelor moved down or Clark maybe moved up, but they both get away with it. Here's Richard Oxton working his way forward. Goes by the 101 of Richard Batchelor. Matt Griffin not too far behind, the second of the day, glow-coloured cars in that shot. Oxton the first of them. Next, Daniel Kent. Car that featured highly in the championship last season. Daniel Kent, another former kart sport racer, as we're back on board with Batchelor as Oxton looking up the inside under brakes into turn number 1. So out of the 2 group races for both groups, top 25 in the points go on to race the final race of the weekend, and that will seed the top 25 in the points for the round. The balance drop into the second group, which sorts out positions 26 and beyond for the round. Such are the numbers in the E30 Championship. We've had 62 cars contesting over the 4 rounds of the championship to date. So Michael Clark now through to the race lead, lapping in the 155s, but Matt Griffin and Richard Oxton chasing him down. Matt Griffin set the fastest lap of the race at a 153.97, and there he is right in behind Mike Clark. Richard Oxton in third. So can Matt Griffin get a run here? Michael Clark in the BMW 318. 4-cylinder. Matt Griffin running the 320 6-cylinder version. As Griffin's got to go to the outside under brakes to the carousel off the end of the back straight. Richard Oxton's got a battle on his hand, I think with the 42 of Daniel Rollison. But it's Griffin through to the lead. He sweeps around the outside under brakes. into the final sequence of corners. And this is going to be the run to the checkered flag. Matt Griffin will take the win from Michael Clark, with Richard Oxton in third and Daniel Rollison in fourth. And that's how they finished. Griffin, Clark, just 0.2 of a second the difference in the end. Richard Oxton, Daniel Rollison, followed by Ian Brown, Craig Schuster, Ashley Blewett and Richard Batchelor.
Matt, those handicaps are tough work, aren't they?
Oh, they are. I mean, I won yesterday's race, which put me off the back for that race, and I got a really good run and just picked them off one by one. It was cool.
And tell us about that move coming through the chase with about 2 to go. That was pretty spectacular.
Oh, it was last lap, last corner, and I didn't know if I was going to pull it off, but I thought I'll just give it a shot, and it came out positive, so it was awesome.
Michael, we know from experience it's always pretty willing in the E30s, but I guess at one stage there you thought, hey, I might have this one in the bag.
Yeah, I did. I thought I might have had it in the bag. I couldn't see out of my right-hand mirror, and I knew Matt was there. And he just got past me as we were coming into the bottom corner up here. So, we'll credit to him. He drove very well.
How's the conditions out there? It's hot, but it's windy. So what's that doing to track temperature, to tyre temperatures, things like that?
Yeah, it doesn't make that much of a difference to us, although we are running a fairly big slick. But the temperature of the track is pretty damn hot, and our rears are the things that we need to get heated up because they're a harder compound. The fronts are heating up beautifully, but for the first couple of laps it is a little bit slippery, and has been with the dust that's around. That makes it, offline is really quite slippery.
So the final race of the weekend for the Open Class Group A, B and C, and it's reverse grid by group start. Again, Graham Fraser carrying an onboard for us. So the quicker guys in Class A will be starting from about row 5 near the front of this grid. As Aaron Harris already ahead of Graham Fraser. Lots of traffic down through turn number 1. And Fraser very, very wide there. You can hear the tyre marbles picking up on the tyres on the onboards. But it's Neville Finlay out to the early race lead. But here comes Warwick Mortimer. Paul Mill, Barry Kirkbanand. 51 David Lawrence in there as well in that unique BMW 535. But Aaron Harris is really motoring forward, and that's Mike Dalmont right in behind him. We're on board with Dalmont. Just gentle throttle application. You can hear the wheel spin. Problems there for car number 40, Murray Brown in the BMW M3. So he's gone off on the first lap. Paul Mill down the inside of Finlay. Two BMW Z3M coupes, two very different versions. These very cool looking little race cars. Barry Kirkbanand works his way to the inside. Aaron Harris is going to try and follow him through. And we just got word from race control that Neville Finlay has been assessed with a jump start penalty and will carry a 10-second penalty at the conclusion of this race as Mike Dalmont goes by him over the start-finish line. Unfortunately for Finlay, he was also assessed with a jump start penalty in the first race here on Sunday. So Aaron Harris, Paul Mill, Mike Dalmont. Dalmont looking for the round victory. Barry Kirkbanand, he's been so consistent right throughout this championship, and again here this weekend, the second and the fourth place finish in group. But Aaron Harris, he's also been very, very strong in the Harris Race Radios. Class B BMW M3 3-litre. Michael Clark doing double duty. He's also running in the BMW E30s. So we're back on board with Clark now in the final race for Open. Michael Clark running in Class B. Looking to the inside out of the final sequence of corners. Down through the gears under brakes, just a lock up there and a bit of a moment on the wheel for Michael Clark. So Barry Kirkbanand now ahead of Aaron Harris. Again, Bernand in the Class A BMW M3 GTR V8 replica. Great lock up there from Aaron Harris, who's trying very, very hard. And this is the battle for the lead. Mike Dalmont unleashes the turbo 4-cylinder horsepower of the BMW 2002 Turbo and blasts past Warwick Mortimer on the run down to the carousel off the big back straight here at Taupo. So Dalmont looking for his second race win of the weekend. finished 8th overall in the second handicap race, which was 3rd in class. So Diamond looking to take the round win in Class A. Aaron Harris in Class B, and Martin Seddon in Class C. So we're back through the field with Matt Parrish in the 287. He's just outside the top 15 in the Class C 4-cylinder E30. Beautiful sunny conditions here in Taupo this weekend. Fantastic venue for the 4th round of the Castrol BMW Race Driver Series. So Mike Dowmont out in the race lead, Warwick Mortimer in 2nd, Barry Kirkpanan in 3rd. This is 318 Gordon Legg. He was 2nd in the points, the defending Class C champion from last season, but had a DNF in the first race of the weekend, did not start the second race, which was the first race we saw today. So Gordon Legg looking to drop a whole heap of points in that championship battle with Martin Seddon. Something you don't see very often, a BMW 535 up against a BMW 635. 51 David Lawrence, 635 is Zachary Lawrence. We've also got Stephen Lawrence out there in the 354 somewhere. In fact, he's right in behind these two. Just in the background there, you can see Grant Clegg. And the BMW 2002 is Zach Lawrence down the inside of David, who locks the brake. Change for position, that's just inside the top 10. That will be for 9th, 10th and 11th positions. So Warwick Mortimer with the headlights on. He's just set the fastest lap of the race at a 1 minute 40.733. Mike Dowmont just ahead of him at a 1:40.739. He did that on lap 3 earlier on in the race. So Mortimer starting to eke back into that lead, held by Mike Dowmont. We're on board with the race leader and the former Open Series champion. Just hear that wheel spin. Mortimer was saying that, especially offline, as we know here at Taupo, with all of the dirt and dust, especially on a hot day, it's not so windy here. It tends to pick up the dust, just blow it over the racetrack. But it is a fabulous facility. So Dowmont looking for his second race victory. There's nothing in it. Mortimer's right there with him. Barry Kirkpanan in 3rd. He's about 10 seconds further back with Aaron Harris in 4th. And Harris leading Class B. The first of the Class Cs, I think, again, is Martin Seddon. So Dowmont and Mortimer have just lapped the 287 of Matt Parrish, who's back in the 21st position. So this should be the last lap run for Mike Dowmont. He's just put some distance between himself and Warwick Mortimer, who was a lot closer on the previous lap. Maybe a couple of car lengths. Probably 240 kilometres an hour from Mike Dowmont here on the back straight at Taupo. Fabulous little race car. Probably one of the more iconic classic race cars in New Zealand right now. Flash of flame from the exhaust, and Dowmont will take the victory in the final open race of the weekend. From Warwick Mortimer, Barry Kirkpanan in 3rd. He'll continue to lead the Class A Championship. Aaron Harrison 4th, leading Class B, ahead of Paul Mill, Michael Starnes, Neville Finlay and Graham Fraser.
Well, guys, another bottler for the final open BMW race, and Mike took it out again.
Yeah, that was a great race. Took a while to get through, and both Warwick and Barry, we had a lot of fun out there. It was good.
And Warwick, I guess you were consigned to chasing again?
Yeah, look, I tell you what, the hairdryer is an amazing thing. That thing, when it goes, it just goes. It is amazing. And as Mike was saying, that the tyres were starting to go off towards the end there. You could see it with just the amount of wheel spin out of every corner. That was fantastic to watch from the rear, I can tell you.
And Barry, finally, look, in the early going anyway, that Aaron Harris is keeping you more than honest.
Yeah, he was having a fantastic drive. I had a talk with him afterwards and congratulated him, and on a fantastic battle, a load of fun.
So finally, boys, how would you sum up the weekend?
Absolutely brilliant. Great weekend.
Yeah, had a lot of fun.
Fantastic. A lot of fun.
So after 4 rounds of the Open Series, Barry Kirkpanan leads from Stephen Lawrence in Class A, Aaron Harris leads from Michael Starnes in Class B, and Martin Seddon leads Class C from Richard Brocklehurst. So it is the final race for Group 1. Unfortunately for these drivers, they haven't made the top 25 in points. So effectively, these drivers will be battling for positions 26 and back for the round. Richard Batchelor again carrying an onboard for us. 187 is Paul Clark. So it's a heads-up start. Fastest to the front on points from the weekend. The second group to come as we watch John Blewett and the 320 of Grant Metzen. Group 2 will be the top 25 in points, battling for the round honours. John Blewett and Metzen side by side. And Blewett very, very wide, working his way through the infield. So the first run onto the back straight. 8 laps, 7:07 there is Graham Ball. Another one of the impressive young rookies this year in the championship out of kart sport. 20 is Steve Neuer. So just sorting out the positions in the early laps for this Group 1 finale for the E30 class. Just one more race left to go after this one. And we will find our round winner here from Taupo. And pick up the championship points battle. 90 is Craig Coates. Had his issues at Manfield in one of the earlier group races. John Blewett with a nice run up the inside. Up at the top corner and makes the run onto the back straight here at Taupo. You can see the heat, haze, beautiful sunny hot day.